Thank you. Hare Krishna. A very, very warm welcome to all our devotees for our Shri Hanuman Jayanti program. May I request all of you to kindly come a little forward because people keep joining us with time and it will be easy for everybody to take a seat. So today is a very, very special day. It is the birth of Shri Hanumanji. We'll start with invocation prayers and then I'll try to speak a few glories of Lord Hanuman, and hopefully we all can imbibe it by attentively hearing the glories and try to learn some devotional lessons from this wonderful, wonderful servant of the Lord. So we'll start by chanting the invocation prayers. You can repeat after me. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamaniam Dadati Swavadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudhadaram Shri Guru Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrata Sagana Gurunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lila Shri Radha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Adi Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyayeva Patiyanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhattavrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
So, once again, a very, very warm welcome to all our devotees and guests for our very special event. This is a Krishna Fest event which happens alternate Saturdays. Today we thought we'll take the opportunity to celebrate the appearance of such a wonderful personality, Shri Hanumanji. Most of us from our childhood have heard something, or in fact, growing in India, the stories of Lord Hanuman are the most popular, is it not? So, what is it that comes to our mind when we think of Hanumanji? Can we just collectively share something? What strikes you when you hear the word Hanuman? Can you reduce this a little bit of a extra noise here? Yes, okay. Very strong man. Bala. Anything else that comes to mind?
Protector.
Protector. Okay. Protects.
The closest devotee of Lord Ram.
Closest devotee of Lord Ram.
He jumps high and flies.
He jumps high in the sky. Yes. Wisdom. Anything else? Any other thought? Any other qualities?
Loyalty.
Loyalty. Saloni, yes.
I was going to say.
Loyalty. Okay, somebody took your turn. Okay.
He's the first devotee to show the love towards God.
He's the first devotee to show the love towards Lord or Ram.
Service.
Service attitude. Very nice. Any other things? Did we exhaust the list or we have some more?
He burnt Lanka.
Huh? He burnt Lanka. Yes, in the past tense. Yes. So yes, very much. Most of us were able to collectively think of some very great qualities for which Lord, for Hanumanji is known for. He is also known as Akhanda Brahmachari. So especially if you go in India, in gymnasiums, you will have him. His feet is always there. Those who are doing all those pumping weights, he is considered as an epitome. Okay, I need to be like strong. And on Saturdays, especially, is worship. People know that way. It is worship on Saturdays. It is said that Hanumanji is a Triveni Sangam of Shakti, Yukti and Bhakti. Shakti means power, Yukti means intelligence and Bhakti means devotion. So I will try to share a few nice pastimes from the life of Lord Hanumanji, which brings out these qualities of Shakti, Yukti and Bhakti. Especially we will focus on Yukti and Bhakti. Shakti everybody knows. Most of you, when we go to that slide, you will be able to share. But very quickly we'll first, because it's his appearance day, we will quickly try to understand how he appeared in this world and how he got such great qualities. Most of you know it, but the story of appearance of Hanumanji begins. Do you know who is? He is an Ansha avatar of which particular great god? Lord Shiva. So, it is said that once Lord Shiva went to Lord Vishnu and he asked him, he expressed his surprise to Lord Vishnu that how he, in the form of his Mohini Murti, his, what is that avatar called? Mohini Murti, right? Mohini avatar. Lord Shiva asked Lord Vishnu, how did you fool all the Rakshasas through this Mohini Murti avatar? I am very intrigued to know more about it. Lord Shiva says, do you want me to actually show you that avatar? And Shiva says, why not? Shiva said, and Vishnu said, I can show you, but there may be some consequences. You have to bear the consequences if I show you that avatar. So Shiva said, no problem, I will just please show me, that will be nice to know. So immediately Lord Vishnu transformed into his very, very divine beauty of Mohini Murti. And the moment he became that, Lord Shiva, he could not control himself actually. And he started running out of after Mohini. And she started running. And at one point, it's all divine. It is said that semen came out of Lord Shiva because it's very transcendental pastime. And because it's very divine, it's not like ordinary. The Saptarishis, the seven, the Dipad star, they were able to take custody of that powerful thing, and they said that when the right time comes, it will be delivered, because that was actually Lord Shiva's desire to serve the Lord in some shape or form. So it was arranged that at the right time it will be delivered to the right personality. And Vayu was given the opportunity to hold it and give it when the right time comes. So it is said that another parallel story is one particular Apsara by the name Punjika Stali. She, one time out of her pride of her beauty, she, of course, anything that any opulence we have can give us pride. So she developed pride about her beauty, and she made fun of a particular rishi. And he cursed that because you are so proud of your beauty, I curse you to become like a monkey. monkeys typically don't have that beauty. So she was born in the family of monkeys in this place called Hampi, or what is it called? Kishkinda Kshetra, that time was called. And there she was married to one of the great kings called Keshari. And these two personalities were scheduled to become the father of a great devotee of the Lord. So that's when the time comes. Actually, Anjana had the Punjika Sthala become Anjana, and she had the ability to transform her form and to become beautiful whenever she wanted. So she could become beautiful, and once she became beautiful, and Vayu seemingly saw her, and he said that now this is the right time for me to give you this gift, where you will be not like similar to the like Mary, and Christ. You will not be considered like out of marriage, but you will have to accept this great form of the Lord. And that's where Vayu comes and delivers this to Anjaneya and Anjana, and she becomes pregnant with Hanuman. And that's why he said he has three fathers: Lord Shiva, Vayu, and Kesari. So he's called Kesari Nandan, Pavanasut, like that. And he's called 11th Rudra also. So obviously we all saw this wonderful drama with the kids. And as soon as he was born, being the Vayu Putra, kids are normally very attracted to something very bright and colorful. So he became attracted to the sun because it was just rising at that time. And he felt it is some kind of a fruit. And he jumped in the sky to try to fetch that fruit. And it is said that he was coming with such great speed that even Surya Dev became very confused. What is this personality? I cannot understand how this is happening. And he somehow was able to understand that this is some great personality. So he gave him a seat on his chariot. He said that the sun god moves in a particular chariot. It's all given in the Bhagavatam. Without going into too much details, he was told to, Hanuman was given a seat, sit in the chariot. And he said that at around the same time, Rahu was supposed, he had his quota of trying to cover sun god with the lunar, the solar eclipse. So Rahu started coming in that direction. And Rahu saw that who is this person who is also coming in from the other side, So he felt that somebody is taking away my responsibility. So he complained to Indra that this is not on. You have given me a time that I can go and cover sun god. How you can allow somebody else to cover? So that's where Indra comes, and he comes along with his Airavat. And you know how Airavat is a very celestial, bright, white elephant. And guess what happens? Little Hanuman. When Airavat comes, he feels another thing to eat. And he jumps towards Indra and Airavat to try to eat Airavat. And this is the time when Indra thinks, no, I need to do something. But this person seems to be very... So he takes his Vajra and hits his baby here on the chin. And he falls unconscious on the ground. And because it hits his chin here, this part is called Hanu. Hanumati, they call it Hanumati. So Hanuma, he got swollen. So the Rama explained how actually when the moment he falls down unconscious, his father Vayu feels very offended. He said, how can they do this to my son? And Vayu is supposed to be, Vayu means all of us breathe air. That is called Prana Vayu. There are 5 types of Vayu. So Vayu decided to stop circulating on this earth. And obviously what happened was everybody was choking. Nobody was able to even breathe. It is said that for us to walk or move or to talk or to pass, even all the things, you need air. There are 5 types of prana Vayu given in the Ayurveda. So all these are controlled by the demigod Vayu. So Vayu choked up everything, and all the demigods went to Lord Brahma and said, we need to do something. Otherwise there will be a unexpected, untimely destruction of mankind. So that's when all these demigods they come, and one by one they give various boons to please Vayu. Brahma says that you will get a life as long as you want to live, you can live. And that is why Hanumanji he's one of the 7 Chiranjeevis. He's still there. He's always like that. So he has life till he wants to stay. Surya Dev gives him the blessing that you will get 1% of my intelligence and I will be personally your guru. I will teach you everything. So it is said that he was, as Surya Dev was moving in this direction like this, Hanuman was in the reverse direction. He was matching the speed of Surya and accepting because he wanted to be lower than Surya and he wanted to always face Surya. So he was going the opposite direction and he gained all knowledge from Surya Dev. And then Surya Dev asked him the Guru Dakshina that very soon my son is going to be born as Sugriva and Indra's son is going to be born as Vali. So I want you to side Sugriva and always be with him. And even though you will be more powerful than him, I want you to be his servant. Like that. And Hanumanji very nicely accepts that. Like that, so many boons he gets and he becomes extremely powerful. You know, he gets the boon of Indra himself says your body will be harder than Vajra, nobody can hit you more. And obviously when a young boy like that gets so much powers, he becomes restless, what to do, he wants to play some mischief. So that's when he starts playing, somebody also gives him the benediction that he will never be affected by anybody's curses, whether it is any sages or anything. So he realized, wow, this is a good opportunity. And the place where he's staying is a place where a lot of sages and hermits are there. And he becomes so mischievous that in that very young age, he starts to disturb the sages and hermitages. You know, so he'll go and pull their hair, he'll pull their beard, he will try to just go to, if they are lighting a fire, he will take a stick and take that fire and go and light up their huts. So he would do all sorts of amazing things to disturb because he was a young boy and he was too much mischievous. So all the sages felt we need to do something, otherwise this mischievous monkey will not allow us to do anything. So that's when they all decide that the best thing to do is to chant certain mantras by which he will forget. That nobody gave him this blessing that he will never forget. So they thought this is a good opportunity. Let's give him a blessing that he will forget all his abilities. And only when the right time comes and when he is reminded, he will use it only in the service of the Lord. So that is how he became Mahabali Hanuman. He got all the powers from all the celestial beings, which he would very soon unleash in the service of the Lord. So that is the story of how he became the great Hanuman. And as I said, I will speak very briefly about his 3 aspects because he is the Triveni Sangam of Shakti, Yukti and Bhakti. And we'll try to see how we can learn some lessons from his demeanor, especially the Yukti and Bhakti part. So when it comes to Shakti, I think most of us are aware of his greatness as his power, right? Can we quickly just think of some great things that he has done using his might? Yes. He brought the Sanjeevani mountain. Yes. Anything else? The kids of that age are not here, many of them. But what comes to our mind when we think of his Shakti? Other than Sanjeevani mountain. Anything else?
Jumping across.
Huh?
He
He jumped across. Yes. He jumped across. When this actually the story of his birth comes when Jambavan, Hanuman and Angad, they are sent in the southern direction to search for Mother Sita. And everybody is looking at each other. Jambavan is asking Angad, how much can you jump? He says, I can jump 50 yojanas. Somebody says 60, somebody says 90. And the ocean was 100 yojanas, that is into 80 something miles. So 80,000 or 800 miles or something. I don't know the exact. Somebody said, I can jump but I can never come back because I lose all my power. So that's when Jambavan and Hanumanji is so innocent, he's looking around, he's thinking who will do it. And that's when Jambavan tells him, okay, it is your time to now serve the Lord. And he reminds him. And it is said that then when he remembers all his abilities and he becomes so huge and goes into a nearby Mahindra mountain. and from there he jumps 100 yojanas. And there are descriptions of what happens to the mountain just by the thrust that is put on by his foot. So there's so many stories of his Shakti are given. When he reaches there, of course we cannot go into details of any episodes of Ramayana, but to just give an example of his Shakti, when he reaches there, finally he sees Mother Sita, and he gives her the ring and tells her, I have the power to destroy everybody. Even Lord Ram doesn't have to come. But she says, no, I want my Lord to come and take me. So that time he feels, let me show a little bit of my strength. Now that I have come, I have to do something. So first, one person by the name Akshay Kumar comes, and he just beats him like anything and kills him. And then another person called Prabhasa comes, and then effortlessly keeps defeating. And there's one person by the name Jambuvali who comes, a very great warrior in the army of Ravana. So Jambuvali challenges Hanuman that what power you have, I have more power than you. And in front of him, he closes his eyes and he becomes big. He becomes very big. Such that he brings 80,000 soldiers with him. So all the 80,000 soldiers and Hanumanji are at the ankle height of Jambuvali. And he then challenges Hanuman, can you beat me now? Look at my strength. And he thinks that my strength is not over, I can expand a little more. So he closes his eyes and expands a little more. And this time when he opens his eyes, he does not see anything else but two circles in front of his eyes. You know what happened? And then he hears the voice, Jambuvali, look up. He says, Hanumanji. And he realizes those two circles are his knees, Hanumanji's knees. And he looks so big. And immediately he realizes that my power is nothing as compared to Hanuman. And Hanumanji just pokes his finger in the navel of Jambuvali, circulates him and just kills him. And before that he says, what about my 80,000 soldiers? He says, there was a nice slab on one of the palaces, and I just picked it and placed it on all those, and they are all gone. Peacefully, they are all gone. So that is just the glimpse of his power with which he was able to. Of course, even in the war, there are so many episodes, but I want to focus on the Yukti and Bhakti part, so I won't go in details. Some of us spoke about it, burning Lanka, Sanjeevani Mountain, and so on and so forth. So we'll discuss some very nice pastimes of how he was very intelligent. Because in devotional service, to become a devotee, you have to become intelligent also. And how I can use my life in the service of the Lord. It's a matter of maneuvering through all these material ways. That's why intelligence is important. So when he was very young, one time, Narad Muni came to this hermitage. And he was a very young boy. And what does Narad Muni carry with him most of the time? Veena. So what he did was, being a prankster, he went and jumped and pulled the Veena from the hands of Narad Muni and started running all around the place. And Narad Muni was running after him. And Hanumanji is running all around the ashram. And after some time, Narad Muni became a little tired. That's when Hanumanji, a small boy, goes back and says, here's your Veena back. I was just wanting that your feet should go around this hermitage so that it becomes purified. I just wanted the dust of your lotus feet to go around. So that is his intelligence. He had that yukti with which he could do that. So it is also said once when, after giving the message to Mother Sita, when he came back to this Kishkinda, where Lord Ram was eagerly awaiting to hear the news of Mother Sita, he started, because he was very intelligent, he started thinking, how should I tell Lord Ram that I have found her? I gave her the message. So he is contemplating, so very nice, there's a nice description in the Ramayana that explains this. His dilemma that if I tell, he wants to say, I found Sita. Right? He wants to tell Lord Ram that I found Sita. So he starts thinking in his mind, if I say I first, maybe he will be impatient, what I? If I say found, no, if I say Sita, he will have that anxiety that Sita was killed by Ravan or something. So he's contemplating. And then he finally thinks, there is an intelligent way in which I have to tell Lord Ram that I found Sita. So there's a word in Sanskrit which has described how he's explained it. So he first says, found Sita I, like that. You know. So that is his level of anxiety. He doesn't want to give even that small fraction of an anxiety to his Lord. So he wants to first say found. Sita I, like that. So there's a nice words that comes how he explains to Lord Ram that how he found Sita. So that shows his intelligence, his eagerness to not have any inconvenience. Also, many fun stories are there about Hanumanji and the monkeys to show their intelligence. Once when he goes, when they are full, he comes back and he obviously tells all all the arrangements in Lanka. And when they go back during the fight, he is given an opportunity to fight in one particular area in Lanka. And there, once there is a deity of Durga which all these Rakshasas are always worshipping. So he realizes for me it is easy to catch these Rakshasas if I go in this temple. And he uses his intelligence, and what he does is he goes and hides himself behind a deity of Mother Durga. And when all these great demons they come, he from behind he makes a loud voice saying that I am Mother Durga. You fools, you have not given me food for such a long time. Please get me laddus and pedas and like that. All these Rakshasas become very afraid. Oh, looks like God is asking for something. So they go and bring. And they all say, what is next? He says, you fools, all of you go out, now let me eat. So they all go out and they close the door and he has a very big feast of laddus and pedas and all the wonderful things. And then he's again powerful. And the moment they again come back, he just smashes everybody and kills everybody. So that is his intelligence actually, which is given in the Ramayana. Also, once after the Ramayana after the war is over, like we heard last time, Mr. Jacob was mentioning that everybody was taken in the Pushpak Viman. All the monkeys said that we have never been to Ayodhya. We want to be to Ayodhya. We want to see, we have heard about this great city. So the Pushpak Viman expanded itself and first Lord Ram asked Hanumanji, what is your thought? Should we take all the monkeys? Hanumanji said, it's your risk. We can take them, but they are not used to living in a city. They are all monkeys, they are living in jungles. So I don't think they will be able to live. So Lord Ram says, it is your responsibility to take care of them. If you say yes, then we will go. And Hanumanji says, no problem. So all of them board the Pushpak Viman and they all come back to Ayodhya. And before disembarking, Hanumanji strictly warns all the monkeys. See, this is Ayodhya, all great people live here, all sophisticated people, we are all general people. You should not do any monkey business is not allowed here. Just follow me. Whatever I do, you have to do. So they all monkeys said, yes, you are our leader, no problem. So the time comes to have food. So Hanumanji gets all the monkeys together, okay, come, you sit in this line. Everybody sit like that. Sit. There is a big palace on top of which Lord Ram would come and see how everybody is getting food. So all the monkeys are lined up. And Hanumanji tells everybody, nobody will touch the plate till I will tell you what to do next. So they first serve, because the monkeys used to like chana, they all serve them chana. You know chana? Chickpea. Boiled chickpea. And there is a peculiarity of boiled chickpea that the skin is loose, but it is always there. So all of them are offered. Everybody is thinking, when can I eat it? Everybody is looking at Hanumanji. When will he tell us to eat it? Hanumanji says, wait, I'll tell you how to eat the chana. So Hanumanji takes one chickpea from his plate and he thinks, let me first see if this is nicely cooked. So he tries to press it with his hand. He presses it to see if it is soft enough. So the moment he presses it, the skin remains in his hand and the chickpea goes to, it goes out. And Hanumanji gets angry, you rascal, you are trying to do this to me, and he jumps and eats that chickpea. And all the monkeys say, wow, this is the Ayodhya of eating chickpeas. Everybody starts jumping. Everybody starts doing that. Everybody starts pushing and doing, and it's like a big jump all over. And Lord Ram comes to the terrace and he sees what is happening, all the monkeys are just jumping and trying to eat the chickpeas. And he has a very hearty laugh. And he comes to Hanumanji and says, Hanumanji, what you and these monkeys have done for me, I can never, I'm indebted for you for life. And thank you so much for giving me so many wonderful things. So his intelligence, it comes out, his duties. Also there is a story of the monkeys when they see in Ayodhya that all these people are great devotees and they do perform some austerities like Ekadashi and all. So they decided we will also do Ekadashi. Ekadashi means you refrain from grains and beans. So the monkeys, they start discussing among themselves that, oh, tomorrow, next day Ekadashi, saying, oh, tomorrow we will perform Ekadashi. I think that on that day, because we don't eat much, we will all become weak. So why don't we all go and sit on the branch on this day only and wait for Ekadashi so that we may not have strength to climb the trees. Let us go and sit on the branches. Okay. So then one monkey says, okay, we all are on the branches, but maybe we don't have the strength to go and pluck fruits. Let us pluck them and keep on ourselves, so that immediately next day when the Dwadashi comes, we can eat. Then one monkey says, that is fine, but what if we are so weak that we cannot even, let's keep it here. Let's keep it near our mouth. Then another monkey says, that is fine, but what if we don't have enough strength to even take a bite? So let's take a bite and chew. So then another monkey says, if we are even chewing, why don't we just eat it now only? So those are some of the wonderful sweet pastimes given about the wonderful things that the monkeys, the way they served Lord Ram. That story that given. Also another story of his yukti is when they were back in Ayodhya, Hanumanji always wanted to do all services to Lord Ram. So he was always there serving Lord Ram. So one day Bharat, Shatrugna, Lakshman and Mother Sita, they all got together and said, this is not right. He is doing all the services to Lord Ram, we don't need any service, we need to do something. So they decided that we will make a list of all the services with which you can serve Lord Ram. So everything, like from the time he wakes up to give him his stuff, for his bathing, his eating, where his sleeping time or night time, everything is jotted out. And a list is made. And next time they see Hanumanji coming, they tell Hanumanji, no, now there's a new rule, we have to follow this service schedule. You cannot just come and do all services, you have to follow this schedule. So Hanumanji says, okay, please tell me what is my schedule, what is I want. So they show that, and he keeps looking, and his name is only not there in that service. So he says, this is cheating. There is no, when they say, actually by proportions, the amount of service you have done for many days and months, you are not scheduled to do any service. So immediately he comes with an intelligent yukti. He said, no, but there is one service which is not there in this list. And he says, that is the service that when Lord Ram yawns, then nobody is there to do discipline. In India they do it so that the insects don't come inside your mouth. Put some sound when you are doing that. So he is telling, I will do that service to Lord Ram. When he is yawning, I will be there to do that. That service nobody has taken. And because of that, he is always sitting next to Lord Ram. Everybody is coming and going, he is always next to Ram. They are saying, what is this? This is not nice. They are saying, well, I don't know when Lord Ram will yawn, so I will always be there, right? Do this service for him. So that is his intelligence, always eager to be in the association of Lord Ram and to serve him. So these are just some examples of his yukti. Now we will see examples of his bhakti. So we all know, most of you know this story. Many of you must have gone on Saturdays, and what do you see especially on Saturdays in a Hanuman temple? There's something special that happens. Have you observed? Yeah, he's painted red, kumkum, and then you put oil on him. So there's a story of how one time, of course, again, Mother Sita would always treat him like his little child. He was Mother Janaki. Hanuman was like her son. So one time, Mother Sita was putting a little bit of sindoor, all of many nowadays they don't do much, but in India, as per the Vedic culture, you part your hair and you put a little bit of sindoor, maam. So she was putting that, and Hanumanji jumped right in front of her and said, Mother Janaki, what are you doing? So she said, he's an Akhanda Brahmachari, what should I tell him about marriage and this and that? She said, she just said, Lord Ram likes this, that's it. She said, really? So immediately he jumped out, he jumped away, and the next moment he jumped in front of Lord Ram. He started dancing. And Lord Ram couldn't identify who is this person, all he could see is one red circle running around. And because there was a tail at the back, he could see, this looks like this is Hanuman. He starts laughing. He says, Hanumanji, what is this? What are you doing? He says, Mother Sita told me that you get pleased by putting this sindoor. So I thought if I put it this much, you get pleased. How much you will be pleased if I cover my whole body with sindoor? So that is his eagerness. That is his bhakti towards the Lord. And that is why they worship, they put the sindoor, the kumkum to him. And then there is a story of one time when the Setu was being built. All of you know how they built the bridge, right? They would write Shri Ram and they would put it. Maybe we can go a little bit further as people come. So one time Lord Ram himself got embarrassed that how is it that these stones are floating? He could see that these monkeys are writing my name Shri Ram and putting, and it is floating. So Lord Ram said, something seems to be, he said, I need to find out. So one day, at night when everybody is sleeping, Lord Ram himself goes to investigate. He says, let me see what is there. And this time he picks up a stone and he says, others had to write my name, Sri Ram. I am myself Ram, so why I will write? I will only put from my name. And he puts it in water. And guess what happens? What happens? What do you think? How many of you think the stone floats? Somebody said floats.
Dances on the street.
Huh?
Dances on the street.
Oh, you can read that. I thought you couldn't read that. Okay, so the stone floats. Really? Now, the stone sinks. And Lord Ram becomes embarrassed. He says, oh my God. First thing he sees is, hope nobody is watching this situation. So he tries to look around and he finds there Hanuman is standing right behind him. And he starts clapping his hands. See? And he explains to Lord Ram that, my Lord, it's not your duty to deliver. It's your name, the name of Sri Ram has the power to deliver. So all of us have stone-like hearts. So it is the holy name of the Lord which can deliver us from this material world. That is the nice example given. And it is also said that similarly one day when Lord Ram was watching from the terrace and all the monkeys were served food, Hanumanji would always first make sure that all the monkeys get food. And he realized that there was no place for Hanumanji to sit. So he personally came down and he said, Hanumanji, come and eat from my plate. Sit with me and eat. And Hanumanji was very embarrassed. He said, my Lord, how can I even think of that? You are my Lord. He says, no, you have to eat. And they used to serve in a banana leaf. That's for Vedic culture. So what Lord Ram did, he said, I am going to today divide my food into two. And he just, with his fingers, he puts a line like this. And it is said from that day the banana leaf started having a big division in the leaf. And on one side Lord Ram said, Hanumanji, you eat. And on the other side he ate. That was the great reciprocation of the Lord, that he made his devotee eat in his own plate. That is the bhakti of Lord Ram. And also many stories how he was the instrument in his bhakti was such that actually it is said that if you have bhakti, you understand the heart of the Lord. So that is actually given by the story of Vibhishan Sharanagati, where when Vibhishan came along with 4 of his associates from Ravan's Lanka, everybody, Angad, Jambavan, Sugriva, everybody said that he is a spy. He has come just to look at our strength and he will go back and tell and he will defeat. So, but Lord Ram wanted to accept surrender from Vibhishan. So he finally asked Hanumanji, Hanumanji, what do you think? Should we accept Vibhishan? And Hanumanji gives a very beautiful answer. It's a detail, but in short, he says that there is no harm in accepting and giving everybody a chance. And that's why the very wonderful, famous line is there where Lord Ram says that anyone who out of even jokingly says Tava Asmi to me. Can we all say together? Tava Asmi. Tava Asmi. So Lord says, even if we say unknowingly or unintentionally, the Lord accepts us as His. And from that point He said, I give you aware, I give you fearlessness. And that explains how Hanumanji understood the heart of Lord Ram and he accepted. And also another sign of bhakti is humility. And the humility of Hanuman lies in the fact that after Ramayana, the whole pastime of Lord Ram was completed, everybody was taken back to the spiritual kingdom. Only one person was asked to stay back. And who is he? Hanumanji. Just imagine how much humility is needed. That your master is saying that I am going to take everybody back, but you have to stay back. It's not easy to stay in the material world. And he said, till the time my names or my pastimes are recited, you have to stay on earth. And he said that wherever Lord Ram's pastimes are recited, Lord Hanuman comes in invisible form and graces with his presence. So that is his humility. He was given the service of being on the flag of Mahabharata because he was living through different yugas. He could have single-handedly just defeated the whole Kauravas, but all he was told was just be as a Kapi Dwaj, as a flag on top of Arjuna's chariot, and just make Garjana such that everybody will be fearful. So it's not easy for somebody who has all the power to just do it in one shot for the Lord to restrain himself. That was his humility. That is explained in the scriptures. And I'll end with this story of how the Lord used Hanuman, because unless you have bhakti, the Lord will not use you as his instrument in his plans. And Lord, even in the form of Krishna, used Hanumanji many times. Here in Mahabharata, an episode of Hanumanji meeting Bhima, and how his pride was crushed. So similarly, there is a story of how Lord Krishna, when he was in Dwarka, he felt that Rukmini is becoming proud of her beauty. She is feeling that Lord Krishna is attracted to me because I am the most beautiful being. Krishna felt that Chakra is becoming proud that nobody can protect more than him. And Garuda is becoming proud that he is the fastest. And that's why Lord Vishnu uses me only all the time. So there is a story where Lord Krishna, because Hanumanji is always present, even in that yuga, in the next yuga, he was present in the Dwapar yuga. He told Hanumanji that one day I will call you to Dwarka. Please come when I call you. And that particular day he tells Garuda that one great devotee of mine is going to come. Please go to the outskirts of Dwarka and get him. So Hanumanji comes, he's a big monkey, he's just jumping from trees and eating something. And he also tells, Lord Krishna also tells Chakra that, simultaneously he tells Chakra that what is apatti called? Some kind of calamity is going to come on Dwarka, so please rotate around Dwarka. Don't let anybody come in. He tells that to Chakra. He tells Garuda, go and get some great personality is coming. And he tells Mother Rukmini, please dress in your best possible way and sit with me today in the darbar. So he tells, and there comes Hanumanji. And Hanumanji is like a monkey, he's just playing around. And Garuda comes first and says, Hanuman, oh, are you the person whom my Lord is asking to come in? He says, yes. He says, the Lord is asking you to come and see him. Sit on my shoulder and take you back. Hanumanji says, I think you go ahead, I'll come. He says, come on, how can you, I am the fastest, how can you do that? He says, don't worry, I'll eat my fruits and then I'll jump and I'll come over before you. Like that. So, he says, he tells that and Garuda just moves away from there. And then Chakra is moving around in Dwarka, and when Hanumanji tries to enter, Chakra tries to stop Hanumanji. And Hanumanji, who is this trying to prevent me from going to my Lord? So he just takes Chakra like this and crumbles him and puts him in his mouth. And along with it, he's going further. And then he comes right in front of the Darbar, and then Mother Rukmini is sitting with Lord Krishna. And as soon as he comes, he exchanges pleasantries with Lord Krishna and he says, can we both go to the side, I want to talk something. And he takes Krishna to the side and he starts saying something to Krishna, but he says loud enough that Mother Rukmini can hear. So he says that, my Lord, when you came as Lord Ram, you were with the most beautiful Mother Sita. What has happened that you are now sitting with Dasis here? And Rukmini hears that and she was very angry. So this is all basically just to show how the Lord uses his very confidential associates, that is his bhakti, which makes the Lord utilize Hanuman to crush the pride of his devotees. And if there is one thing that the Lord does not like in his devotees, especially to those whom the Lord feels are dear to him, he takes pleasure in crushing their pride. That is the Lord's favorite pastime, to crush the pride of his devotees. So, this is, some just snippets of the great glories of Sri Hanuman, his Shakti, Yukti and Bhakti. They are amazing. It's an amazing combination and he's one of the greatest devotees. As per our scriptures, as per Sri Prahlad Maharaj, there are 9 limbs of devotional service. One of them is Dasya. And Hanumanji is the epitome of Dasya. His service attitude is unmatched. Because he always wanted to do something extra for the Lord. He did not apply convenience factors. Even in our devotional life, we tend to apply convenience factors. That, okay, after all this, I can do something. But Hanumanji was eager to do something more for the pleasure of his great Lord. That's why he just didn't go and deliver the ring. He did some extra service in Lanka. That is what we should learn from him. And to end with, the message of Ramayana has been very beautifully described as an analogy by the Acharyas, especially the Sri Vaishnava Acharyas, that the story of Ramayana has been described as Sita being the epitome of us, that is the soul. Ravan is the epitome of materially contaminated mind. Lord Ram is the epitome, is obviously the Supreme Lord, the controller of the Jiva, or the original master of each Jiva, soul. And Hanumanji is compared to, can anybody guess? The Guru. So just as the Lord sends his messenger to bring the soul back to him, similarly Lord Ram chose Hanuman as the messenger to tell Mother Sita to come out of this Lanka. So he is like the Guru of all the devotees that way. He is the one who teaches, he will teach us, that's why I should pray to him, what real devotion is. With time, sometimes it tends to become, first of all, we need to cultivate the knowledge of pure devotion by coming regularly to places where you can gain this knowledge. And secondly, try to practice it. And even when we are practicing, we should learn so many. Actually, there are many examples of when he went to Lanka, how he did not stop for Menaka mountain, how he killed Surasa, Simhika, Lankini, and there are lessons from him. How we shouldn't be complacent, how we should not let pride or envy come, how we should not be in competitive mode with others, and how we should be able to forcefully enter into a dangerous situation and still preach the message of Lord. So many amazing lessons are there. But in the interest of time, I thought I will cover only this much. So, with our sincere heart, we should all pray to Hanumanji that he gives us a little bit of an iota of the bhakti, shakti and yukti that he has that is needed to serve the Lord. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you very much, Shankar Guru. So let's give a big round of applause to Shankar Guru.